Hello, this is Pastor Brian Anderson, and we have another daily devotion today. We are in Matthew chapter 22, verses 1 to 14, and here Jesus gives the parable of the wedding feast. I believe that this feast represents enjoying communion with God in his kingdom, and coming to the feast represents a person entering into that kingdom. Now, there was one thing that was absolutely required for every person that wanted to attend this wedding feast. It was wedding clothes. Now, the king must have provided these clothes for all of the guests because many of them came straight from the highways and the streets and the hedges, and they would not have had these special clothes with them. So the king would have to provide them for them. There was one man who came to the wedding feast who didn't have these clothes on. And when the king looked at him and addressed him, he even called him friend. As a result of him not having these wedding clothes, the king commanded that the man would be bound hand and foot and thrown into the outer darkness where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. And of course, that's a description of hell. I believe that the wedding clothes that were freely provided to all the invited guests would represent the righteousness of Jesus Christ that is freely offered to all people in the gospel. Listen to this from Isaiah 61, verse 10. He has wrapped me with a robe of righteousness. He has clothed me with garments of salvation. Or Philippians 3:9. And that I might be found in him, not having a righteousness of my own derived from the law, but that which is through faith in Christ, the righteousness which comes from God on the basis of faith. And so really the lesson here is that God invites everyone to enter his kingdom, but only if they will put on the righteous robes of Jesus Christ. If they appear before God dressed in their own righteousness, they're going to be cast into hell. If any persons enter the kingdom, it's due alone to God's free and sovereign grace, his free gift of the righteousness of Jesus Christ to all those who put their faith in him. That's why the very end of this parable says this in verse 14, for many are called, that's all are invited, but few are chosen. The ones that are chosen are those who are inclined by God's free and sovereign grace to humble themselves, to cast off reliance upon any of their own righteousness or any of their works, and depend solely on what Jesus Christ has done in his perfect life and then his substitutionary death. So, my friend, does that describe you? Are you relying on your own works of righteousness to be accepted before God? Or are you relying totally and completely on the righteousness of Jesus Christ that's provided for us by God in the gospel? I hope it's the latter. This old poem makes a lot of sense. Lay your deadly doing down at Jesus' feet. Trust in him alone, gloriously complete. May God richly bless and encourage you today.